8:32, Wednesday, April 24th, and I would like to call this meeting to order. I have asked Director Dindal to open us in prayer this morning.
Would you join me in prayer? First of all, Father, we thank you for the rain out there, Lord. And we also thank you for the bypass of any foul weather that you granted us yesterday, too. We pray for the folks in Midland who had some significant weather, that reparations would be not too bad, but Lord, just bless those folks over there. And Lord, we just thank you for this time together to, first of all, discuss the business of the city. And Lord, help us make wise decisions in everything that we do in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Moving on to line item 3, public comment. Issues or items that are not on the agenda may be raised by the public at this time. Citizens should speak from the podium. Begin by stating their name and limit remarks to less than 3 minutes. Board members may request that a discussed item be placed on a future agenda. The board takes public comment on all regular agenda items during the discussion of those items. Do I have any public comment this morning?
Just one item, Mr. Coles. I don't know if we want to obviously welcome our new board members.
Absolutely.
Today.
Erica Laura is now joining us, so we would like to welcome her and thank you for serving. So we have Erica Laura, we have Mr. Garland Freeze, who, this is your second meeting now.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? And we have a full board.
Yeah, we're full.
All right.
It's exciting.
Way to go.
Thank you, Board. My name is Bruce Partain. I'm the CEO of the San Angelo Chamber of Commerce, and would just like to invite everyone who's in the room and maybe watching to come to the May 14th Chamber Luncheon. Our topic will be tourism, and as you all know, tourism is a special form of economic development. One of the best aspects of it is it helps lower property taxes by bringing in more sales taxes. So if you would like to learn more, go to the Chamber website at sanangelo.org, and please come visit with us on May 14th, and we'll be at Fort Concho on that day. Thank you.
What are we eating?
I think it's nutritious food as far as I know. I do know the caterer, but that sounds commercial, so I won't say that.
Non-GMO, gluten-free.
No, I look forward to that. Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none, we will move on to line item 4, consent agenda. Consider approving the March 27th, 2019 meeting minutes. Consider approving the necessary corporation disbursements. And consider a resolution authorizing the board president to negotiate and execute a business resource center office lease agreement with James T. Hill, DBA JT Hill & Co.
Make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Ed, second by Bill. Any discussion? And the last one there, C, the lease agreement with James T. Hill, he is an attorney that is doing some work for the Hickory Aquifer that we have an office at the BRC that we are going to rent out to him.
Jason Hill.
Jason Hill. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to line item 5, regular agenda. Consider approving the March 2019 financial statements. Presentation by Ms. Tina Diersky, Director of Finance. Good morning.
Good morning, Board. Tina Diersky, Director of Finance. I have for you today your March financial statements to review. Sales tax was up 4.42% in March, and in April it was up 11.65%, so we're still seeing that trending upward, and so that's a good thing for us. One more slide? Hey, here I am. There you go. Okay. Yes, no problem. So moving on to your balance sheet for the economic development side, we have $5 million in the money market account that we're holding liquid in anticipation of some upcoming projects. This account was earning just over 2.4% at the end of this quarter. And then there's also just over $10 million in your investment accounts, and those were earning an average of 2.3% at the end of the quarter. And on your economic development income statement, you'll note sales tax revenue is, of course, in excess of year-to-date budget at 53%. And other than that, we made a payment to the city for staff services, and that was the bulk of the activity for the month on the economic development side. For your balance sheet, on the ballot side, we currently have all of our funds in the money market accounts, just over $4 million. We are holding those liquid intentionally in anticipation of paying the debt service to the city of San Angelo for the ballot projects as well as long-term water supply projects. And for your income statement on the balance side, again, just the sales tax revenue is in excess of budget, and the only other activity we had were for the staff services, the affordable housing, and West Texas Water Partnership. So that's all I have to share with you today, unless you have any questions for me.
Sales tax are up.
Yes,
What happened in February?
I don't know. We were down just over 6%, and that would be Christmas, December sales. And so there was a large audit adjustment in the previous December, but other than that, no telling. Just not a good month.
Any questions, concerns from the board? Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a move.
By Mr. Freeze, do I have a second?
Second.
By Mr. Carrasco, any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you, Tina. Moving on to B, public hearing regarding the use of sales and use tax funds in the amount not to exceed $200,000 to provide an economic development incentive to SMC Global for a project related to business enterprise that create or retain primary jobs, is authorized for a Type B corporation under Local Government Code, Chapter 504, Subchapter C. Presentation by Ms. Shannon Scott.
Good morning, Board.
Good morning.
Shannon Scott, Business Retention and Expansion Coordinator for the city. Again, as you will recall, we are required to conduct a public hearing once a project is approved under Section 505.159 of the Local Government Code. Just a refresher, again, this was a project that y'all approved at the March board meeting for SMC Global, just to review some of the details of that project. So they currently have 11 employees with an average salary of $60,000, and they anticipate investing up to $3.3 million in business, personal property, and inventory at a new location that they're leasing over off of Loop 306. And again, the details of the incentives that were approved last month, again, they must retain the 11 current employees that they have. Excuse me. And y'all approved, excuse me, up to $200,000 for the property tax rebate once they invest that $3.3 million in the business, personal property, and inventory. And essentially what that is, it's a property tax rebate over 5 years at $40,000 per year. So with that, I would ask to open the public hearing.
I will now, at this time, open the public hearing. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, I will now close the public hearing. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
You bet. Moving on to C, another public hearing regarding the use of sales and use tax funds in an amount not to exceed $50,000 to provide an economic development incentive for Intertel services for a project related to business enterprises that create or retain primary jobs, as authorized for a Type B corporation under Local Government Code, Chapter 504, Subchapter C. Also, presentation by Shannon Scott.
Thank you. Again, required to conduct a public hearing for all projects that were approved. This project was also approved at the March board meeting, and this one is for Intertel services. So again, just a recap of that project, they currently have 73 employees. They're anticipating hiring up at least 3, but up to 10 additional employees over the course of the next 3 years. Those employees having an average salary of $35,000. And again, just a refresher of the incentives that were approved. So they must retain their 73 current employees, and we are offering them $5,000 per job, or full-time equivalent for up to 10 positions. So again, they're anticipating hiring at least 3, but up to 10. So the incentives are for the full 10 in case they do go up to that amount. So the total incentives would be $50,000. And with that, I would ask to open the public hearing on this project.
We'll at this time open the public hearing. Are there any public discussions on this matter? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon, appreciate it. Moving on to line item D, consider a resolution authorizing the board president or his designee to negotiate and execute a memorandum of understanding with the city of San Angelo relating to infrastructure improvements necessary for platting a 153.007 plus or minus acre portion of the subdivision of Phase 2 of the San Angelo Business and Industrial Park encompassing a future allocation of up to $4 million. Presentation by Bob Schneeman. Good morning.
Good morning, thank you. As the board may recall, we've been working for quite some time now to get a project put together for Phase 2 of the industrial park. We've had to split that into two subphases, 2.1 and 2.2, to accommodate the AEP property. So as you can see on the map here, Phase 2.1 was the infrastructure and extension of Gateway Drive to accommodate AEP. We're now ready to go into Phase 2.2. And when we did Phase 2.1, there was a considerable amount of drainage improvements and detention pond that was required for regional detention. We decided to delay that portion of the project until so that we could bid it with Phase 2.2 in hopes of getting a better bid for the unit cost of moving all that soil. The reason we're doing an MOU, sorry about that. Planning Commission, as a part of approving the subdivision plat for Unit 2, required that we do a memorandum of understanding between the city and the Costa DC Board to fund all required infrastructure and improvements. This is a requirement that the Planning Commission normally does with any development project. They're treating us just like any other developer. That they need a financial guarantee before they'll approve a subdivision plat, guaranteeing that all public improvements will be funded and constructed. So they've asked for a memorandum of understanding in lieu of a letter of credit or bonding or anything like that. So that's what we're considering today, is that memorandum of understanding. Phase 2.1, the portion of the project that was deferred, that is the drainage, is estimated by the engineers to be about $1.6 million. Excuse me, I thought I was going to sneeze there. And Phase 2.2 infrastructure is about $2.5 million, of which $1.25 million will be funded by an Economic Development Administration grant. And we are going through that process now. Part of the approval process for that grant is also recordation of the subdivision plat, which the MOU will allow us to do.
Bob, help me understand the 2.1 a little bit better. We were going out to do that first little area, and AEP needed it done faster. Is that how I remember it? So whenever you say, yeah, that little part.
We did that portion right there. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So go back to the slide that was just up. Deferred from 2.1, and now 1.6.
That 1.6 million is the drainage the drainage improvements that we deferred from 2.1, which is the channelization and the regional detention.
We didn't do that when they did the road?
That's correct.
Gotcha.
How much was that phase originally?
Phase 2.1, I believe the bid for that was over $2 million, 2 point something. We wound up negotiating with the contractor and did the street, water, sewer, and a temporary low water crossing for $586,000.
That's great. All right. Questions, concerns?
There wasn't any grant money available for 2.1?
No, sir.
Okay.
I see
Let me
this,
clarify that.
Yeah.
We could have used part of the 1.25 million for 2.1, but we would have had to wait until everything was approved by EDA, so we decided to pull that out separately.
we currently have 23, 24 acres available in phase one
About that.
that's
Correct.
already complete,
Correct, and we've actually got interest in the majority of that.
in the majority of that. So
Correct.
going on with this and doing this is basically an investment that when we sell these lots, we'll recoup this plus some.
That's correct.
But we have to have them ready if a boom comes around.
That's correct. It's much easier to market property if not. I should say more. It's not much easier, but property is a lot more appealing if the infrastructure is already in place.
Sure.
And we've seen a lot of interest that we're anticipating down the road from as a result of some of what's going on in the Permian Basin and that sort of thing.
And by doing this, I mean, this ensures our designation of whenever we got dubbed the super park or,
Correct.
so this is in
We
conjunction
need to
with
keep,
all
we're
that.
continuing to maintain that certification.
Yes. Necessity to obtain too.
We're the only super park in the state.
We're the only super park in Texas.
I mean,
Yeah. All right. I will, anything else, Bob?
No, sir.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Max, do I have a second? Second by Mr. Dindal. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Moving on to line item E, presentation of the Chamber of Commerce second quarter report, January through March 2019, by Mr. Michael Looney. Good morning.
Good morning, Costa DC Board.
Morning.
Michael Looney, Vice President of Economic Development for the San Angelo Chamber of Commerce, presenting the quarterly report. That's not it. All right. Thanks for having me up, and we appreciate all of your support. I'll lead off by saying that the partnership and working daily routines between the Costa DC staff and the Chamber of Commerce Economic Development staff are all-time high. They're excellent. We're working so well together, and we're making a lot of progress. Just to give an idea for those who don't know, I know you know a lot about what we do, but for those in the public or in the gallery who might not know, the Economic Development Department of the Chamber is run by an Economic Development Advisory Committee. Members are Sabrina Tash, Dr. Clifton Jones of Angelo State University, Randy Brooks, if you've heard of Jax, you've heard of Randy, Chris Evett he's with First Financial, Wendell Hirschfeld with Wendell and Tank, and Kevin Dostal is with Hydraulic Industrial Corporation. We try to put a kind of a mixed cross-section of the industrial community on our committees. There's some other partners that you'll recognize. I don't need to go through their names, but we're very proud to be partnering with them. Also, we partner with Tom Green County. Those are the Tom Green County Commissioners. And we work a lot with them, too, because so many of the projects that we work on cross over into the county borders. What we do for San Angelo, we do a lot. We support local industrial companies. We recruit new industrial companies. We create new careers. We like to call it career creation as opposed to just job creation. And we increase capital investment in the community. We do this through a platform called the San Angelo Regional Manufacturers Alliance Program, which is the industrial association for San Angelo. It's a project of the Chamber. It promotes the manufacturing sector in San Angelo and works with SARMA members. These are your heavy industrial companies. Costa DC, City Planning and Permitting, big partners of ours, and the Tom Green County Commissioners. We engage in business recruiting, business. So what we do is through the SARMA, and I know a lot of you might have heard this before, but for some of our newcomers, this is where we basically have deputized our industrial partners, our industrial companies throughout the Concho Valley to help us and inform us, give us direction on how we want this economy to grow and evolve. And an example is that we'll work with industrial companies to help inform us what do we want as far as rail service, as far as highway infrastructure, road weight limits, expanded areas in the industrial park. Who better to tell us than the industrial base of the Concho Valley? And it's worked very effectively. One of the things that it's done, which I'll get to in a second, is that by spreading the word, having our industrial companies basically, you know, the old saying, tell a friend, and word of mouth is sometimes your best advertising tool. And we have these companies bringing other companies that they work with on a supply side into San Angelo. Some successes in the first quarter. SMC Global Corporation, which you just heard of just a few minutes ago, and we appreciate your approval of that transaction assistance at the last meeting. That has now triggered a very early expansion. They came into the market and leased 2 fairly good-sized facilities, each about 20,000 feet apiece, for doing manufacturing of chemicals. This is oil field chemicals, and then distribution, warehouse and distribution. With the assistance that COSA-DC has provided, this allows them to accelerate an expansion to a third facility of 80,000 square feet. This is the former R.G. Berry building. So this building is a massive warehouse on Loop 306, and it has had virtually nothing done to it since R.G. Berry closed down, and that was in the early 90s. Again, you see some of the details on that, but the bottom line is this is a company that came to San Angelo interested in somehow penetrating services in the oil field, and they wanted a yard to drop chemicals in. And it's evolved through all of our work together into a very large community partner here in our city. U.S. Well Services, this was another transaction. Just for those, I know you're familiar with it, but for those in the public who might not know, this was a 381 tax agreement that we worked on with the county to get some tax relief for them agreeing to bring in $22 million worth of equipment onto their property. And the reason that's substantial is because this company could have frankly easily dropped their gear out on 67 in the county, and our community would have realized no tax benefit whatsoever from it. And they understood that, and so we negotiated with them to expand out what they're doing on their current facility on Arden Road. Recurrent Energy. Yesterday at County Commissioners Court, we did receive, or Recurrent did receive approvals to go forward on the construction of a 200 megawatt AC, $160 million solar power plant that would be in the county. Just some of the basics is, when you look at a facility like this, it's going to be producing 200 megawatts AC of power going into the ERCOT grid. This is a company that has designed and built these kinds of power plants all over North America. They're one of the best companies that you could have designing and building something like this. It's not a job creator because basically you're building just a big robot. It's going to sit on about 4,000 acres in the northern part of the county. But some of the things that what we presented to Commissioners Court yesterday, which I thought was really timely, is you have some of the I guess you'd say sort of the temporary type of benefit that goes in conjunction with what our Convention and Visitors Bureau does, and that is they recruit visitors and some more of your less permanent type visitors and events to San Angelo, but they have a really powerful impact. This is going to create 450 full-time job equivalents for the construction of the plant over a one-year period. And the consultant that works for the county and also works for Recurrent said that's going to translate to 5,400 hotel room nights over a one-year period, and that's 15 people over 365 days a year. What the county benefits is approximately $2 million paid to Tom Green County as a pilot payment in lieu of taxes over a 10-year period, and that's approximately a 45% of levy. So once that 10-year period is completed, which is per state law, it will then be taxed on 100% of the value of the property. And this is a $160 million development. So you have a $160 million plant in the county that is going to be taxed by the county, by the appraisal district. And what that does is that puts a lot of money into the county's coffers that they desperately need. And it also directly helps the school districts, the ISDs. And in this case, it would be Water Valley. Project Solar 3, this is another solar power plant that we are working on. So there are 3 power plants that we're working on. One is Recurrent, one is Eon, and then this one. This is a little bit smaller, 150 megawatts AC solar power plant. And this will also be going through the same steps as we did with Eon and with Recurrent. So again, not big job creators for permanent job creators, but again, it provides a lot of assistance to the county and to the school districts. And what that does is that helps to relieve some pressure off of the homeowners, which is one of the strategic missions of what we do with COSA DC. A couple of other chemical companies are looking at San Angelo, Chem 1 and Chem 2. These are related to one of our existing chemical companies. They work in concert with each other from time to time on projects, and one is a chemical manufacturer, one is a hauler, a shipper. We have had tours with these companies over the past couple of months. They went very well, so well that both companies are now negotiating for facilities or land in San Angelo. And we'll be working more with them in the future, probably in the next couple of weeks. And then Expansion Fact 2, Facility 2, this is a local manufacturer that is asked to be kept completely anonymous for the time being, and we are working with them on exploring options for about a 50,000 square foot expansion. And we'll know more about what kind of job increase and career increase that's gonna yield to the community, but at this point we don't really know right now. Home care, this is one that we've talked about in the past that is not a manufacturer, but it's significant in that it's a skilled nursing facility that has been working with several landowners to buy property, approximately 8 acres, in order to purchase the land and then build a high-end skilled nursing facility. And as they're still doing that, they had an opportunity to rescue a facility on Knickerbocker that had fallen into some trouble, and they came in and purchased the property. So they are now had a much accelerated timeline, and they're now an operator and an owner of a facility in San Angelo. Again, Sitel, this is a business retention and expansion program that we're working on very closely with Shannon Scott, and we're working with them on trying to come up with a plan. We're working with a guy named Kevin Milstead, who is their director of recruitment. They need 506 new employees, and this is a whopper of a request. And they've got some strategic plans that they've worked out where they're going to do different kinds of hours, flex hours, and create a different work environment than maybe than they had in the past. This is very interesting because Sitel has actually closed down a facility in Amarillo recently and 2 in New Mexico. And so we've been told that San Angelo is a special facility. And I'm telling you, it was wild when Jessica Hoydal, who joined the chamber as my assistant for economic development specialist back in October, she knows these operations and gave me some research on it and showed us what they look like. These operations in New Mexico looked practically new. And so one would think that a new operation might be less vulnerable, but in this case, we've been told that the Sitel operation here is special. It has a special group of employees. And they're wanting to employ a lot more. And so what we're working on with them and with Shannon Scott's been really, really big part of it, is figuring out a way to create shuttle services between the outlying communities and Sitel. So having a bus that would go out to Miles or Eden or Rowena, Ballinger, and bring people in and then take them back out in the evenings. Because when you know, these aren't the at these types of jobs, you're going to, if you're spending $100 a week on gas, that can maybe eat into your enthusiasm about working for, whatever company it may be. But if you have transportation that's reliable, like an offshore platform, choppers you in and brings you back every night, that makes it a lot more palatable. And so that's something that we're working on. So we're trying to come up with some creative ways to solve a problem. I mean, this is 500 new people. That's a lot of people for this company to need to hire on top of whom they already have working for them, which is just about under 500. A little bit about the Cornerstone Investors Program. These are private funds that we collect. Makes up about 30% of our budget, and these are private funds that we collect throughout the year from investors. These are companies, these are business owners that believe in what the chamber does, and they support us with dollars that we can use to augment our budget. The bulk of which is from you, is from Costa DC. But with those dollars, we redeploy them into the community to support local business. That's what those dollars from Cornerstone are for. And one of the things that we did in the first quarter is we sponsored 5 small business development profit mastery courses. These are $300 value each. And we sponsored 5 students. And I'm going to skip ahead. These are the 5 students that, I'm sorry, it was 6 students. 6 students that we sponsored. It was Pecos Street Pharmacy, Angelo Kidney Connection, Leo's Imports, Rock Your World Decorative Concrete Company, and Company Printing and Cripple Creek Holdings, LLC. And we think this is a really good way to utilize these dollars to help companies help themselves get up to the next level. They were really well attended, and we've actually just a couple of days ago, we got another request from SBDC to consider sponsoring, I think, 5 or 6 more people with sponsorships. And of course, that's something that our board is probably going to be pretty enthusiastic about. We also, in the first quarter, the Chamber and the SARMA program helped sponsor the FAA Ag Mechanical Fabrication Competition at the 2019 Livestock Show and Rodeo. There's a picture on the left side of your screen. That's the Water Valley ISD fabrication team. And we have received no less than 20 thank you letters from young people around the state that benefited from the sponsorship. This is a means for us to get local heavy industry involved in direct sponsorship of fabrication and the agricultural arts. And we think that the best way we can do that is by sponsoring students who are in high school. This also encourages discussion about internships, apprenticeships, and scholarships. Because a lot of the companies that are here, almost all the companies, I mean, frankly, I can't think of any companies that are fabrication manufacturers here in San Angelo that don't want to pull from the local, regional base of young people that are interested in working with their hands and with their minds and have a good aptitude for engineering and mathematics. And so we kicked that off. One of our SARMA members, his name is Trenton Pretty, and he's one of the managers at Airgas. He actually was asked to sit permanently on the rodeo board, partially because of his involvement with this program and with this initiative. Industrial outreach. One of the things that we specialize in is going out to the community through the SARMA database, the SARMA program, and reach out to our existing heavy industry businesses. In the first quarter, these are the companies that I won't name them all, but these are the companies that we visited, and this is where Jessica sometimes comes with us. Sometimes she stays back and mans the guns, and I and Shannon will go out on a Friday morning from about 9 in the morning till after lunch and go and visit with these companies and get to know them and walk their facilities and understand on a one-on-one basis what it is they want to do in the coming year and what their strategy is. And that's been really helpful in informing us as to what we can do as a body to help these companies to prosper even further. And there's a couple of pictures that we took of us out on some of these sites. And I can tell you, just from a personal standpoint, these companies love it when we come out and visit them. They just warm up. We've never been told no. Even if a company, we could tell they were pretty busy, we'll offer to back out and just say, hey, we'll come back later. And they're like, no. We're so glad you're here. This is great. We love seeing Costa DC come out and see us in the chamber. Let's show us what you do. And that's what they do, and we get full tours. Also, we are working with an organization that we're members of, the Chamber's members of, called the SWARS. This is the Southwest Association of Rail Shippers. In February, attended a 2-day conference in the Woodlands to prep up for our San Angelo Rail Port project that you know of, that we're working on. And we met many industry insiders, 3 of which have already toured San Angelo based off of this meeting. So in a month and a half's time, they've already come up and toured to try to figure out ways they can help us to build this port and make it the most efficient and probably one of the shining stars of the ports in this region of Texas. And that also included getting assistance in helping understand what kinds of commodities we want and what companies there are that need that kind of heavy haul shipment. TMAC, this is the Texas Manufacturers Assistance Center. In January 29th, we hosted a meeting with Bill Rafferty. He's the executive director. The Texas Manufacturers Assistance Center is based in San Antonio over on Culebra Road. It's a 1,200-acre campus of the Southwest Research Institute, and they offer certification classes for industrial manufacturers and fabricators and managers. We had a meeting, an exploratory meeting, to see what kind of response we would get. TMAC would sponsor the courses, and then we arranged to get sponsors for the room and for the meals. It's a 5-day-long course. The off-the-shelf rate, if you were to just go down to San Antonio and take it, it would be $1,600. TMAC is sponsoring it at no cost, and Ethicon has agreed to sponsor the soft costs, the meals, and the room. And we had 41 people, industrial-minded people, industrial professionals from the region want to sign up for it, but we could only take 14, so we've kind of opened up the TMAC box, and we're going to be hosting these very elite industrial training courses in San Angelo. These are courses that Johnson & Johnson sends people out of town to take for a whole week. It's that level of course. And this is our website, which you've seen before, but if you haven't visited it, we ask you to take a look at it. It's sarma.us, and it's updated and has information on our events and our members. And now we're going into closed session. But anyway, that is our presentation, and I really appreciate you guys letting us have another minute to talk to you about what we're doing, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'll just say it's nice to see so much going on.
It is awesome. It is absolutely awesome. And just the response we've gotten from our local industrial partners has been amazing. Because once you build that trust relationship and they know that things will move smoothly through permitting and planning, which they have with a bunch of the projects we've worked on, that the community likes them. I mean, we've asked SMC Global, as we've become friends with them, what is it? What was it? And they said, you're just nice people. And you think that sounds, oh, that's really nice to hear, but that makes a huge difference. I mean, because as they've told us, I mean, their operations chief has said we could have put this thing anywhere near the Permian, anywhere. It didn't really make any difference exactly where it was, but we love San Angelo so much, and we felt so good about the support. This is home. And I'll let you know, this is now their second largest facility in the world, and they have offices in China, offices in all throughout the United States, and then they have another one that they just built in Switzerland. So we should be really proud of that. But thank you very much, Director Coles.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the Sitel, with their 506 new employees, are they going to be bringing in anyone from their sites that have closed? Will there be people moving in?
Yes, they're going to offer that, but I think they don't know what kind of response they're going to get. But yes, we asked that question. They said they will offer that to people in the Amarillo and in the 2 sites in New Mexico. But as they've told us, a lot of those level people will just stay in their hometown where they are. They probably aren't going to move for that position unless it's a higher level managerial position. So they might, and certainly we've offered all measure of assistance to help that happen, because if we can recruit new people and new companies and new families, that's an added benefit for us.
What are with these 506 jobs, what level of jobs are they?
These are going to be inbound contact center jobs mostly. So this is where they will they are trained. They're really not an outbound call center. They're an inbound. So for example, if they're working for a credit card company or they're working for an insurance provider, they are trained. They run that company. I mean, they are highly trained. They're highly skilled. They have a higher level of training than a lot of contact centers around the country. And so those are mostly the jobs that are going to be grown. And they do uptrain. I mean, they will uptrain existing employees or completely train somebody from ground level. And they love to promote throughout the company too. And that's one of the reasons why we're really fortunate. We've worked with a lot of contact centers. This is one of the best in the world. Sitel is an awesome company, good managerial structure, and they promote from within.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. We are now moving into closed session, executive session under the provision of Government Code, Title V, Open Government Ethics, Subtitle A, Open Government, Chapter 551, Open Meetings, Subchapter D, exceptions to requirement that meetings be open under the following sections. A, Section 551.072, to deliberate the purchase and exchange, lease, or value of real property if deliberation in an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the position of the governmental body in negotiations with a third person. A vacant tract of land being 180 plus or minus acres out of J.C. Matthews Abstract 8071, Survey 0178, and being a portion of property identified as tax ID number 61-08071-0711-000-000. B, Section 551.087, to deliberate regarding commercial or financial information that the board is receiving from the business prospects with whom economic development negotiations are being conducted, and discuss financial or other incentives relating to the following projects. Project 2019 S28, Project 2019 DB68, Project 2019 J32, Project Chem 1, Project Chem 2. We are now in closed session. It is now 9:48. We are out of closed session. Coming out of closed session, the board will consider item A, out of the closed session agenda, to deliberate and take possible action on the purchase of a vacant tract of land being 180 plus or minus acres out of J.C. Matthews Abstract 8071, Survey 0178, and being a portion of property identified as tax ID number 61-08071-0711-000-000. Do we have a report from staff?
We do. Thank you very much. This is a 180-acre tract of land located about 1.5 miles west of the intersection of U.S. Highway 277 and Farm to Market Road 2105, with frontage on 2105. The south boundary of it is East 50th Street, also known as Schwartner Road. It is immediately to the west of some existing city-owned property that has been designated for expansion of the landfill at some point. However, one of the conditions of sale is that we will not use this property for landfill purposes. The intent of the purchase is to develop the property as or to hold the property anyway at this time for a potential either commercial or industrial development. It is 180 acres, plus or minus, depending on the final survey. The agreed price is $3,000 per acre plus appropriate costs, closing costs, if you will. There was a question of mineral rights, and we've agreed to a 50-50 split with the sellers, but no surface disturbance of the property. And we have a 90-day inspection period, during which time we will do environmental, phase 1 environmental report, and also any other due diligence by staff that needs to be done. Staff is recommending approval of this item, and be happy to take any questions.
Fantastic. Do I have a motion?
With that, I'd like to move to authorize the board president to negotiate and execute a contract for the purchase of the real estate as presented at $3,000 per acre plus related costs, and to execute all related documents subject to approval of the city council.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Dindal, second by Mr. Carrasco. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Bob. We will now move on to line item 8, which is adjournment. Do I have a motion? Hold up. What did I miss?
Hold up, we have a future agenda.
Oh, we have announcements and consideration of future agenda items.
Yes, yes. So I just wanted to remind the board members and also to inform the public as well. We're very excited about our business factory. We actually have one of our incubator clients that will be graduating. So we will be hosting a reception this Friday at 3:30. I believe I sent that information all to you last week, plus just a reminder as of yesterday. So please, if you can, please try to attend. And as well, we're going to be presenting them with a plaque. It's something that we'd like to continue doing for our clients. As well, next month, just around the corner actually, May 6th, we're going to be doing the announcement of the business plan competition. So the announcement will be held there at the Business Resource Center. So also look forward to, we've been working with the public information as well. They've created a little commercial, 60-second commercial for us. Very nice. So you'll be very proud of that as well. I am. It was great working with Anthony and Brian on that, so I'm very excited about that. So just wanted to give you that information.
Thank you, Nora.
Thank you.
Anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. We gone.